What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is I was gonna say ladies first. First Wives Club season 1, episode 6. Seven. Oh Lord, 7. And so this week's cameo is by Miss Vanessa Williams. I love me some Miss Vanessa Williams, the original, the first black Miss America, Vanessa Williams, not Vanessa. I think she's Vanessa L. Williams, and the other Vanessa Williams is just Vanessa Williams. But the Miss America, Miss Vanessa Williams. Okay, my baby. I love Vanessa Williams. So this is a flashback episode, okay? 90% of this episode are them flashing back to Ari's wedding. Ari went to Sag Harbor. From what I can deduce, Sag Harbor is where her family, like, summer home is, or lake house or whatever. Her parents are not there when she gets there. And of course, she calls her girlfriends to come and, check on her because, all of them are going through what they're going through, right? She flashes back to her wedding because she got married there at Sag Harbor. Vanessa Williams plays her mom, and this was a perfect example of, like, this was David, her husband, comes from money, and we see here that she comes from money, and she was expected to go to the right schools, go to the right parties, date the right men, choose the right career, marry the right man, have a perfect 2.6 kids and a picket fence type of thing, or 2.5 kids, however it goes. And David was it. Like, she dated, and his name is not Winston, it's Wendell, whatever. She dated him, but he wasn't serious. Her mother was like, no, this is your husband, this is the right man, this is who you're supposed to be with, right? And so we're here for the rehearsal dinner. Bree is her maid of honor, and Hazel shows up looking all 1990s, glam, right? She got on a red leather outfit with this blonde bob wig, honey. And of course, she is superstar. And she had just started dating Derek then. They weren't married at the time. They were dating. And he had already had a reputation for having, loose peen, running them streets. So we see them for the rehearsal dinner, and of course, David says all the right things, does all the right things. He's the perfect soon-to-be husband, and her mother is that doting, overbearing, I want my daughter to marry this guy because it would just be a perfect union type of thing. So the night of the rehearsal dinner, when everybody's giving a toast, of course, Bree gives this beautiful, heartfelt toast about, you're my best friend, and I know you love him, and I'm so happy for you guys, and it is what it is. Hazel stands up and basically demands to be able to give a toast. And she says, he checks all the right boxes, and I know you're getting exactly what your mother wants for you. So she threw a couple of digs into the toast. And of course, Ari is sitting there looking mortified. And she's upset because, she's talking to David later on that night. And she was like, I don't want you to think that I don't love you. I don't want you to think that this is about checking a box. And he was like, listen, I don't take nothing Hazel says seriously. It's Hazel. It's Hazel. I'm not even tripping. I ain't worried about it. It is what it is. So she goes to talk to Hazel about it and confront her. And Hazel, they get into an argument. And she ends up asking Hazel to leave. And Hazel was like, you know what? Fine. I have been kicked out of better. Now, did Hazel have the best approach? Probably not. But what she's saying, what everybody was probably thinking, well, at least her friends were thinking, probably. But of course, when you are getting married, I think for most, I shouldn't speak, but I think it happens a lot. More times than people care to admit, that there are second thoughts and there are nerves and you're wondering if you're doing the right thing. Because for most people, marriage is forever. And that is a serious commitment. Forever, ever, ever is a serious, serious commitment. So, now when we flash back to the present, they're having a conversation with Ari about, listen, like, did you ever really love David? Like, we get it. He doesn't show you any affection. He doesn't show you any love. He's all about his career. But let's be clear. Isn't that how we started? Like, y'all were like a power move from the beginning. So, and they were very sensitive to everything, but I feel like part of them was kind of thinking, you kind of knew what you was getting into when you got into it, type of thing. And, that's where we get the whole flashback thing. So the night before her wedding, Winston, He shows up. Wendell. Is it Wendell? He shows up and they end up going out to the bar. She gets drunk. She's dancing with the drag queens and she's posing on stage and she is letting her hair down and she is having an absolute ball. She ends up passing out on stage. And so he asked her, he was like, listen, is this what you really want? And she was like, I don't know. Like, when I'm with you, I can let my hair down and I can be me, but I do love David and, this is what we've agreed and this is the marriage, And he kisses her. Then she kisses him back and then she realizes what she's doing and she runs off, right? So the next day, she's getting dressed and she's sick and she's telling Bree all of these things. And Bree was like, girl, when was the last time you had your period? And she was like, no, I couldn't be. You think? So Bree ends up calling Hazel and Hazel shows up with a pregnancy test. And, she sees her and she was like, she called you? And Bree was like, yes, I called her. And Hazel was like, so they end up making up, they end up hugging and making up. Girl, she takes that pregnancy test, baby, and it comes back positive, okay? It comes back positive. And her mother comes up and her mother's like, listen, like, people are waiting for this wedding. Why are you not dressed yet? And she shows her mother the pregnancy test. And, Vanessa Williams was like, listen, let me talk to my baby girl by herself. Y'all go on somewhere. Let me holler at her. And she said, Mom, I know you're disappointed. This wasn't the plan. And she said, how could I be disappointed? Like, I love you. You love him. It is what it is. And she said all the right things in that moment, right? She didn't yell at her. She didn't fuss at her. She didn't say, girl, how dare you? I can't believe you. What in the world? She was like, listen, I love you. I want this for you. He's a good man. He's going to treat you right. Like, all of those things, right? And so, of course, they go forward with the wedding. And the wedding is beautiful. And they are dancing. And they are doing the electric slide. And everything is everything. And that daggone Wendell is looking at her from across the room. And she looking at him. Baby. So she ends up calling him. She ends up calling Wendell. And she said, listen. It can never, ever happen again. He said, listen, we didn't have sex. He said, I wanted to. But we didn't. We didn't have sex. She was like, oh my God, thank you so much. She was like, well, damn. She was like, no, because I really thought I had cheated on my husband. And yes, we're going through some things and it ain't perfect, but I don't want to be that woman. I don't want to be that person. And they had a moment, but later on that night, baby, who shows up? David. And he says all the right things and he apologizes and he gets down on one knee and he proposes to her again. And he is so, so sorry. And he said, I have always loved you and I know that I had put my career before you, but I promise you I will not do that again. And I don't care about you being my campaign manager. I can get another campaign manager, but what I can't get is another love of my life, and you are my love. And so she says yes. So they, they hug it out, honey. They hug it out. I hope he gave her an orgasm that night. She said he never gave her one. So I hope she get one tonight. Anyway. So then we see later on, we see Hazel and Bree are at a clinic. Well, come to find out, Hazel was actually pregnant. And she knew she was pregnant at the wedding, but she didn't say anything. And she decided to have an abortion. And she had Bree there with her. And Bree ended up calling Ari. And so when Ari shows up, Hazel looks at Bree and she's like, you called her? And Bree was like, I did. So Bree is the middle. Bree is the glue that keeps the trio together. And, Ari was like, I wouldn't be anywhere else but here. And they were like, well, did you tell Derek? She was like, no, I ain't told Derek. She said, Derek already got a baby mama he can't stand. I ain't trying to be a statistic. Like, I don't want to be another baby mama. Like, that's not what I want, And she said, I didn't tell him because it's my body, my choice. And she went on in and had herself an abortion. And so it brings back the whole prenup thing where her prenup was contingent on her having a child. So I find that to be sort of interesting in light of that. But anyway, that's what it is, you guys. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.